Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to York City. I thought I'd just start this by comparing our season in League One to the previous years. It felt like we had a very overachieving season. Now we're in the playoff predictions in terms of season preview at basically the entire season. So not a huge overachievement as I keep saying, realistically, but I can't help but feel like it was. Mostly down to the goal difference. But if you compare 89 points to the previous years, Millwall 90, Sheffield Wednesday 89, Blackburn 96, that was a very good year for them. And Oxford in the first year in the save is the only one that was significantly lower, 77. This was a very tight year all round. Great for spectators, I imagine. But it's realistically, goal difference, the main one. Blackburn the closest one to it. But if you look at the goals against, really, 43 there, 39 for Millwall, and then you see 28 for us. That's why it mostly came in. With a few massive wins, most notably against Oxford, which is, I now realise, the reason we ended up first. 5-0 against Oxford. So we did have some big wins in that one. So it's not a massive overachievement in terms of historically either. So that's good on that front. How we're predicted for this year though? Yeah, nowhere near the playoff picture on this one, that's for certain. 65 to 1. Now we started this year at 225 to 1. All three promoted sides were in three digits. So I'm sorry. Watford still have Kera and Angelino. I'm pretty certain that's Hudson-Odoi. Asaskar of Fulham. Ooh. Yeah, the relegated sides have some ridiculously good players. I can't imagine he's going to stay there considering he starts to save in PSG. I imagine his aspirations are a little bit higher than that. Sorry, Brendan Rodgers has gone to Forest. Mad scenes in the Championship already. Transfers on our front. They're valued a little less than these guys. First up, Stephen Burrows, who we signed on a free at the end of last year. This was one that we already knew was coming in. May have highlighted him a little bit before. We have bumped up the boundaries for the stats by 1 on all levels, so does look a little bit worse than he did before, but he does have great potential. 16 tackling as well for a player at 19 to start with, so we're starting with 16 tackling, and 7 determination is my issue potentially with him. He may not develop as a result of that. He is injured as well for a few weeks, which isn't great. But we do have Shao Nan at right back, who is, strictly speaking, a natural right back now. We developed him in that right back position for that reason. He is right-footed primarily, and I don't know why he wasn't a right back when we got him in the first place. But Shao leads the way on that front. Burrows will be his backup once he gets back to fitness. He's got a few reasonable stats going forward as well. Few decent mentals, some rubbish mentals, and a decent physical list overall. He'll hopefully get better over time. He's not on a huge amount of wages when you compare him to the rest of the squad, so fingers crossed he'll be right. We are looking for loan options at the fullbacks positions on both sides just to strengthen those a little bit further if we can. The issue, of course, is homegrown again. But Burrows was free, so can't really sniff at that one too much. Madeira, however, £245,000. It's what they wanted. That's what we gave them. This is what we're getting for £245,000. A player with great potential, actually, as well. Technique 14, dribbling 15, bravery. Physical's great on that front. Mental's pretty decent overall. You can see there, very strong right foot. You immediately know what we're doing just by the fact that he's a natural right-sided player. Yep, we're training him on the left. Yeah, he's not anywhere near that just yet, but he will get there eventually, I would imagine. I think he's going to be very good, in my opinion. £3,600 per week. He won't be our highest earner once a contract renewal goes through, but he is, I think, the highest earner now, technically, that we own. We have a loan player who's here on more wages per week than that. But Madeira will be the starting player on the left-hand side, just because he's ours, basically. Velasquez will be the starting player in that Mazzala attack role that Sabara operated in last year. He is pretty good. Now, there is one thing to note, of course. Despite the fact these players are 3.5 stars, a lot of them still are operating at a League One level. That's the thing. We still have him to sell. I didn't get rid of him. He will start the season just to see how he fares off. And if he doesn't play that well, we do have people to step in. I'll get to him next. Squires can also go in that role as well, who, of course, we got in January. But I think Velasquez, determination 15 is pretty good for a young player. He can get through. He's 18 as well, so of course he's just joined us after agreeing to join us last summer. He's now here this summer, and he will become a homegrown club player provided he stays here all 3 years. So that will be fantastic when that goes through. Of course, I'm really hoping we don't get to a position where we need homegrown club players by that point, because at that point we will have massively overachieved. I suspect we'll be in the Championship for a fair few years. Passing, determination, physical's all very good, dribbling's very good. A lot of these other stats are on the increase as well. Tackling, yeah, fine. Composure, that's the one I'm mostly worried about, I think. And vision 2. You can train these. Off the ball's not great either, but you can train all of these, and we probably will do. but he is our Starling Mazzarlo attack player. Very strong left foot, so I have moved the two midfield positions to the opposite sides to accommodate this. Velasquez will play on the left, Nissel on the right, because he is right-footed. And I have been playing him on the left-hand side the entire time so far, and he's been getting 7.7 averages. I really hope he continues that now. Velasquez is injured for this first match. Well, he's just returning to fitness, actually. So he won't feature in this first match against Middlesbrough. Simon Carter may well do, though. Right-footed, Mazzala, so this makes it a little bit awkward because he needs to be on the opposite side again. Now, with his stats, I think he could actually end up being a fairly decent ball-winning midfield as well, because he does have that 14 tackling in his arsenal as well. His issues here are bravery and concentration, so I'm actually training him further back to operate in the defensive midfield role. Now, we do have a starting player there. He's not going there for the time being, but he's better than Squires in that defensive midfielder role. On paper, he's just got bravery and concentration lacking on that front, in my opinion, and that's bravery can be trained, concentration can't. A little bit annoying. One, leadership. We're not looking to him to do that. No. We're fine on that front. We've got South up front, and Smallwood still exists to deal with every problem and be the under-18s assistant manager, I think, or under-18s coach. He's somewhere in the under-18s. But technique 16, passing 16, work rate 17, absolute workhorse of a player. Decisions are great too. I can say determination is great, and his physicals pretty much live up to the work rate and all things like that. So first touch isn't too shabby either. I think he's a very, 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 very good midfielder, and I don't know why he's only 3 stars. Should mention, Velasquez was £300,000 up front, £300,000 over time, and £300,000 after 50 games. Simon Carter of £650,000 from Barnsley. I did say we would have a look at Barnsley, and when I did, I forgot this was a player that I wanted to sign from Chester initially when he was there in the first place. They swooped him before that point, a little bit annoyingly. Oh, now we've got him back, basically, because Barnsley's relegation to League Two opened the door for us to get him into the Championship. Of course, who's not going to want to take that leap? If I'm honest, I think on paper he might be one of our best players, even though he's only written as 3 stars. We still don't have the best staff, so don't pay too much attention to the current abilities and the potential abilities. They're improving over time, but they're not the best still. But yeah, £650,000 up front and over time with add-ons. And then the starting player for that defensive midfielder role. I did say when we got Squires in January that we would be looking for a defensive ball-winning midfielder to operate that spot come the summer. And this is him, Wilson Gonçalves. Yes, we do have another Gonçalves, so we will be referring to him as Wilson for the time being. Let's be honest though, Vitor doesn't get anywhere near the first team a lot of the time. But he very much sticks to the back. Tackling, positioning, decisions, bravery, all very good. In my opinion, a lot of great stats on this one. Very well rounded. Does have development to grow. 1.1 million he cost with future things added to that. There's not all of that, obviously 1.1 million up front, but the add-ons do get that on a little bit more. Great on both feet. From Academica, which I'm pretty certain is where we got Dutra from as well. So we do have to thank them for continually giving us their best players. Well, players that become our best players at the very least. So Portugal, thank you once again in general for giving me 2 players, and Academica in particular. And then very quickly, 2 loan players. Christopher Shanley is a player I've had on my radar for quite a long while. I think he's going to be one of England's top prospects in the long run. Pretty good on the first place. A lot of determination is a bit average, but teamwork, work rate, all these are pretty good. And the top end of the technicals, his physicals are very good apart from strength, really, and jumping reach. He's not the tallest. But he is a winger, so that's not too bad. Again, very strong right foot who is already a little bit more natural on that left-hand side, so he will be playing on that side. The fact he can play on both sides means he's basically a little bit more flexible on that front, and if any of the wingers don't really play particularly well, he can go on either side. We are paying the full £4,500 per week, but I think for developing A, one of Newcastle players, and B, an English player, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind developing not one of our players when it's, well, Newcastle basically, and English. So that combination means I'm happy to take him on and I'm happy to play him very, very, very much. Although, of course, Madeira is the natural in that position. Victor Schott was a little bit of a mistake, but he's here for nothing. No wages per week, nothing at all from our parent club Liverpool. 15 finishing, 14 first touch. A lot of great mentals in this one, and some great physicals too. Not the best of staminas. They've just acquired him from Monaco, have Liverpool, and then we've immediately loaned him for nothing per week. Can't really argue with that. He's better than any of the strikers we have already, according to the ratings. Very strong on both feet. Can go into that right-hand side if we need him to. That left-hand side, sorry, if we need him to. In fact, he's a very good inside forward on that left-hand side as well. So again, if Madeira doesn't play well, if Shanley doesn't play well, if there's injuries, we've got options. Annoyingly though, because he came from Monaco, I now realised after we acquired him, he's not homegrown, so he doesn't fit that slot. So basically, we basically have to rotate him with Hugh King. Yeah, the 7 homegrown players thing is a little bit of an issue if we want to include him, because obviously South is the other one in that front. So South stays on the bench regardless what happens, whether it's Hugh King or Shot up front, or he goes on the pitch. One or the others. South has to be involved in some way, shape, or form because we need him. Worth noting though, in terms of homegrown club players, we still have South and we now have Lee Tao. Clark's gone, of course, but we still have 2 of those. 2 of those in the matchday squads at the very least. So in terms of the pre-season, though, we've had a very good pre-season overall. We started a little bit iffy against Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, and then we decided to have fun with the Yorkshire Friendly Cup. I got bored, basically, and decided to do a Friendly Cup against Yorkshire teams. Leeds were the other one. I think Leeds won it. We lost against Celtic in the time we spent in Scotland. We played Blackpool and East Kilbride in that time. And actually, after losing to Celtic, we didn't concede a single goal in the pre-season, which is ridiculous, frankly. Grimsby 3-0, Burgess Hill 3-0, Arsenal 2-0. Worth noting they weren't playing at their full capacity. Mostly their defenders were weakened off the bat, but they did start with Bellerin, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Solanke's there for some reason, Guendouzi they started with as well. Andrea Bellotti was on the bench and never came on, but they had, Willock Nelson, who we lost to already. Saka was still there. Martinelli, Wan-Bissaka came on. But, goalkeeper and central defensively, that's where they were lacking. But still, 2-0. That's where Velasquez got injured, though. Liverpool under-23s, 1-0. I don't know how good they were. We've since loaned one of them. And Burnley, 4-0. They're Premier League as well. But again, that is their first choice keeper, I think now. Unless their I think actually their first choice keeper is injured. Because I know their captain is Matt Ryan, because I've gone on their page at some point. But a lot of these players here actually are their first choice players. Tom Davies isn't bad as Barkhuizen. Buhika's their first choice striker, I'm pretty certain. Obviously Tarkowski's still there. So this one actually a little bit more surprising, possibly than the Arsenal one. The fact it was 4-0 and there was a missed penalty, so it could have been 5. Madeira nearly had 2 penalties in that one. Had to balance it out somehow, but a very dominant performance in that one, surprisingly. Middlesbrough, you can't sit behind my face, so I will go on fixtures. So the first match, I always like to bring you the first match of the season, even if it is before the transfer window shuts. I particularly like bringing you the first match of the season when it, of course, is our first match in a new division, which, of course, Middlesbrough is. And Steve Bruce is touring the North East. He's now done all 3 of them. But Chris Chalk is out. Stephen Burrows is out for us, of course. And then the big one, Richie Dean is on loan at Middlesbrough this year. And, he's injured, so we don't get to play him. Almost. Nice to see you, Richie. I hope you're in the stadium at the very least so I can say hello to you, because it will be nice to see you nice. Now, this is going to be the team for today. Now, we do have Ruben Van Gastel and Velasquez. They are returning to fitness, but when they don't put... Van Gastel has 45 minutes of action on him, and Velasquez doesn't have anything written on him, so I don't know what to do on that front. In fact, maybe he should be on... You know what, actually, I'm going to put him on the bench instead of King, just because I can't replace any other player. I do want a defender on the bench. I am in the process of signing a homegrown defender, a central defender, who might be a step up on Borges. Borges is pretty good, but since obviously we've marked up the boundaries, he suddenly looks a lot worse because most of his stats are 13, which was the previous yellow boundary. Still pretty good, but I think we can maybe do one better than him as things stand. Edgar, however, still is sensational. He's the one getting a new contract. Might be significantly more than anyone else in the squad at this point. But anyway, the team for this match is Dutra in goal, Feist-Hamel on the left, Borges and Edgar in the middle, Schau on the right. Defensively, we've not made any improvements yet. We obviously, like I say, we're looking to get an improvement maybe on Borges. I'm looking to get a new fullback on the left, particularly. I've put an offer in on one on the right, but I don't think I'm going to go through with it because I kind of forgot that Schau should be on the right-hand side at that point. And he does have great development potential still, so I'm going to stick with Schau, I think, with Burrows. But left-back, we're definitely going to get an improvement on Feist-Hamel. It's a little bit awkward because Schau is the best left-back and right-back at the same time. So yeah, we definitely need an improvement on one of them at the very least. But with Gonçalves, Wilson in the ball-winning midfielder role, Carter and Nacelle in the middle, Madeira and Ebersbach on the inside forward roles. Ebersbach, strictly speaking, is better than Lee Tao, so we're going to stick with him so far. And considering he's just signed a new contract, I'm hoping that's a sign that he might start playing a little bit more and then shot up front because he is our best striker. Bench includes players like Lee Tao, Shanley's on the bench, Squires is on the bench, South, Velasquez, Sergi's there too, and Remy Davis, of course, who we highlighted at the end of last year, the only player who came in on a free contract from Premier League clubs, who is homegrown, of course, so that is mostly the reason for that one. He's basically just better than Smallwood. And I just need to give arbitrary numbers to Shanley and Shot. There we are, 19 and 21, because why not? Thought long and hard about that one. Ah, yeah. I forgot about the one signing that Middlesbrough made, and you can see it there on the right-hand side. They might have Riyad Mahrez. Interestingly enough, Riyad Mahrez was actually interested in joining us. Obviously, his wage demands were off the scale, but he actually was open to joining us, which I found incredible. He's only, like I say, he's only 33, so he's not like completely off it. His physicals are still okay, mostly, like, 11, 10, 9. They're not terrible. I don't really understand his current stage. He's only regarded as 4-star, probably mostly because of his physicals. I do think the physicals do affect the star ratings and the scout reports a little bit too much, in my opinion, sometimes. But weirdly, this year we've not had. Weirdly, I think this year we've actually had less caliber players in terms of free agents interested in us, because last year we had players like Nainggolan. Mahrez, I think, was probably the best one this year. Nathan Wood is often a player who ends up going a little bit up a division. I haven't scouted him yet, so I might get him scouted just in case. But yeah, he's pretty good. Might eye him in the future if I have to. But yeah, I seem to remember that Nathan Wood does tend to develop sometimes, so I'm surprised he's still at Middlesbrough. Admittedly, he's still only 22, so there's still time. Let's go cause an upset. It's day 1. We're playing Stevie Bruce. Right, Brucey boy, let's see what you've got for us. We don't need the scores for this one, of course. Okay. Well, I'm faffing around getting rid of the scores, and Madeira has already put us 1-0 up. 90 seconds in, and we're top of the table. Mostly because no one else has scored. But we'll stop now. We'll leave it now. We're in the Premier League. We're fine. We're getting promoted. Well, that's maybe we don't sign Nathan Wood. I don't think he's the one marking him. In fairness, I suspect that's the right back. Left back's playing us onside, thank God. And 1-0. And Madeira has already had his cake and eaten it. I noticed that Oxford are playing Lincoln, the other promoted side, which is a fascinating first day fixture. Admittedly, that's the kind of fixture you don't want towards the end of a season. Oh God, here's Mahrez, Sergio though. Whoa. I'd just like to point out now, can we just stop the season right now and just leave it at that? Lincoln, York, top of the table. We're promoted. Well, that's fine. We'll leave it there. Wilson gives it a Shot. I'm not really paying attention. Shot. Still Shot. It has just dawned on me the pun potential there. Where's the chance? Where was the chance in that? Now, I don't understand this, by the way. How are we ahead of Hull and Sheffield United? Because clearly they've all scored 1 goal. Surely alphabetical comes into this now. So far, it's got to be said, going well. No other highlights in the half. All right, some assertive faith. Shots on a 6.5. I do just see that. Gonsalves on a 6.5. Defensive midfielders usually been a role that's been quite strong in general. That has gone out to Kerrigan. I am slightly worried there's going to be a penalty. No, okay, we've got that one back. Ramsey has gone back into the box, and Roberts is there. Great save by Dutra. May have been offside. He was. Nacelle putting in a 7.1 briefly there. 6.4 shots down to. Admittedly, he's not played a lot of football yet, so he is probably just finding his feet a little bit. Madeira, despite scoring's rating has been consistently dropping, so something's going on there too. But we'll get Lloyd South on, I think, and I don't know about Gonsalves. He has bobbed up to a 6.6. Squires isn't too bad a replacement. I'm just more concerned about the yellow card than anything else in that ball-winning midfielder role. Both defenders are booked as well. Well, here we are. Hutchins, Clifford. I maybe should have put Carter back there. Get him developing. I might just do that, actually, in some point. That's gone all the way back to their goalkeeper. And I think 20 minutes to go, we'll pull back off positive. Feistamel. But that ricocheted weirdly. Ended up at them. Emma's back's gone on the end of this one. And a bit fortunate the way it's fallen to him. Smashes it at the goalkeeper. Because I think this has finally sorted itself out a little bit in terms of... No, it hasn't. Derby and Reading alphabetically should be ahead of us. I don't know what's factoring in here. Chow. Inwards. Carter's there. No, he's not. Ebersbach's there. He's worked it around. Straight at the goalkeeper. Right. You see that person in black? Aim either side. That wasn't the end of the highlight. Okay, I'm slightly concerned now. Bogler is charging down this left-hand side for them. His inwards to Clifford. It might go back out to him. Looked offside when he got the ball there, but way over. Wasn't offside, though. I think we replace Ebbers back at this point, and Lee Tao is the natural inside forward for that side. So on comes Lee Tao for his first performance in the Championship. And we now have 2 homegrown club players on the pitch. Anyway, South on the ball now. Speaking of, there's one of them, Xiao. Nacelle. Back to Xiao. Well, it's ricocheted into South possession. Nacelle. And it's ended up at their feet. Great. Okay, Jones. I presume their player's going to get under this, and he's mugged off Edgar a little bit. And he's mugged off Borges to boot. And a pretty largely highlightless game, other than the Madeira one. There's quite a lot of stuff there. Chem Campbell is another player that we look to try and get on loan. Didn't want to come, obviously. Just noticed that there because he was on his competitive debut. First day of the season, 1-0 win away at York, beating Brucey's boys. We will absolutely take that. People have written us off today. Very proud. Off you go. Look at those ratings at the end, by the way. 7.2 from Nacelle, 7.3 from Edgar. Defensively, incredibly sound overall in the end. Istanbul was on a 6.5 at half-time and ended on a 7. Xiao was on a 6.7 and ended up on a 7.5. I don't know what these two boys did in the second half, but whatever it was sensational. I barely saw it. So, a day 1 win. End of the transfer window happens in a few days' time, actually. It's not the end of the month for the Championship. We have pulled Doncaster in the Carabao Cup. I am tempted to bring you towards the end of the month, though. More Derby and Sheffield is what I'm aiming at. Although, Watford, of course, a very big side. But I think we will stick to the end of the month. Derby and Sheffield United. Sheffield ones I'm very particular in doing because Yorkshire. Hull, of course, but Hull's a little bit... Well, it's the next match, basically. And I want to put a bit of a gap in. And Hull will match up following the FA Cup as well. So, depending on who we get in the FA Cup third round, that may be a thing later in the season. So, Derby and Sheffield United will be the next one. Until then, ta-ra!